and here we reach to the last topic of the chapter, Sebi, Securities Exchange Board of India. Securities Exchange Board of India, reason for establishment, objectives, this is what we are going to talk about today, starting with SEBI was established in or set up in 1988 to regulate the function of securities market. To promote orderly and healthy environment, that is development, to protect the investors, the SEBI was given a statutory status on 30th January 1992. What were the reasons for establishment? First of all, SEBI was actually established as a watchdog of Indian market, securities market. But it turned out to be an effective watchdog. Why? Because a lot of manipulations were happening and they kept on happening unless SEBI got a regulatory status. And when SEBI got a regulatory status, whatever SEBI initiated, the companies had to follow the same bylaws. And today, SEBI has such a strong status that if SEBI does not provide for, or it provides for some provision and the companies do not follow those provision, their securities are not listed on the stock exchange, they don't get permission to be listed on the stock exchange. So SEBI has become very, very powerful over the years. Reasons for establishment of SEBI: the capital market witnessed tremendous growth during 1980s, and there was a lot of expansion and population. In terms of expansion means in terms of the people getting to the securities market, and also market capitalization, like people were more interested in putting money in the securities rather than going in for gold and silver. So the over-expanding investor population and market capitalization led to a variety of malpractices, and this led to malpractices on the part of the companies, brokers, merchant bankers and investment consultants. They started manipulating. This was the time when Harshad Mehta's 5,000 crore was actually witnessed. The malpractices include existence of self-styled merchant bankers. Merchant bankers are the people who help in buying and selling of the shares, and they really took up the market. The unofficial private placements were happening without officially stating it. Rigging of prices, like Harshad Mehta rigged the price of ACC cement from 200 to 9,000. Unofficial premium of new issues, premium being offered on new issues, like which was not officially stated. Again, non-adherence of provisions of Companies Act was not being followed, violation of rules and regulation of stock exchange was happening, delay in delivery of shares kept on happening, and these malpractices actually led to heartbreaking of the investors. So above malpractices eroded investors' confidence, government and stock exchanges were helpless, and that was the time government took a step and said, now SEBI will be a separate regulatory body, that is Securities Exchange Board of India. Alright, so starting with the overall objective of SEBI being to protect the interest of investors, to promote the development and regulate the securities market, we come to the four major objectives. The first one being to regulate the stock exchange and securities industry to promote their orderly functioning. So we're talking about the security industries, we're talking about stock exchange, they were regulated under SEBI. Second, to protect the rights and interests of investors, particularly individual investors, and to guide and educate them, tell them what kind of securities are required. That's why SEBI actually took the initiative has issued proper guidelines for investors to go through that what exactly is to be done, what kind of securities are to be bought and sold. And malpractices have not eroded 100% but have reduced tremendously. Third, to prevent trading malpractices and achieve a balance between self-regulation by securities industry and its statutory regulation. So trading malpractices were stopped, and to regulate and develop a code of conduct and fair practices by intermediaries like brokers, merchant bankers, with a view to make them competitive and professional. So they were made professional. Even to be a broker of the stock exchange, now you have to give a written exam and then you have to deposit some kind of money. So a lot of initiative was taken up by SEBI to actually promote, regulate, protect the securities market. Next we come to the functions of SEBI. Starting with the functions of Securities Exchange Board of India, we'll come to protective, regulatory and development functions. Starting with the protective functions, first was prohibition of fraudulent and unfair trade practices in the securities market, like price rigging, Price triggering is artificial price rise of the securities without people knowing about it, and that price rise is just a manipulation of the broker. Initially things were not transparent, people did not have enough of sufficient information. So what Harshad Mehta did was he manipulated the price of ACC from 200 to 9,000. What he did was he used to sell the shares to his own brokers, buy it back from them, and then the people who were selling, whom he was selling to, were his people. Buying back was again by his people, then again selling and buying back. And when the investors came to know, oh wow, the share prices are rising so high, and at that time there was no transparent system to confirm with the company that actually were the share prices rising or not. And by the time they realized, it was already up to, within a tenure of 3 months, it was up to 9,000 rupees, and immediately the stock market crashed down. When it crashed down, then people came to know that the prices were rigged. They were actually manipulated from 200 to 9,000. They were taken too high, and then there was a fall down of the price. So that is called price rigging. Price triggering, making misleading statement in prospectus. Prospectus is a circular. It is the advertisement about the, or notice about the company's past, present and future development. So any misleading information or misstatement can be a problem, and that's what was happening. So protective function first talked about this. Controlling insider trading and imposing penalties for such practices. Now, insider trading is usually done by the directors of the company who have information about some kind of offers being given, and those are not available to the general public. So when the directors manipulate at that time, like for example, they know that there's going to be a rise in the price of the shares, and they make their own people buy those shares, or there's a bonus issue which is going to happen. So they just manipulate it with their own people and do not let the public know about it. And when this trade takes place, it is known as insider trading. That was basically stopped, and penalties were imposed for the same. Undertaking step for investor protection, so that investor was not manipulated, like it happened with Harshad Mehta case and lot many other cases. Promotion of fair practices and code of conduct. Code of conduct means behavior pattern in the securities market. So that behavior pattern or code of conduct was established to control the investors, merchant bankers, from manipulating the investors. That was about the protective function. Next we come to the regulatory function. First of all, registration of brokers and sub-brokers and other players in the market. Very important. They were all registered, and like I told you just while doing the objectives, that all the brokers now have to register before becoming the brokers of the stock exchange. So they have to register with the Sebi. Registration of collective investment schemes and mutual funds. Though mutual funds are subject to market risk, we know it that they're set to very quickly, but still they are properly protocoled, they are properly registered. Regulation of stockbrokers, portfolio exchanges, underwriters, merchant bankers, all was taken care of. People could not manipulate in the market anymore. Regulation of takeover bids by companies were actually checked by Sebi now, or are checked by Sebi. Levying fee and other charges for carrying out purpose of act. So any kind of services which are provided by Sevi to any kind of company at the time of mergers, takeovers, calculation of accounts, knowing of the assets or anything like that, fees charged for it. Calling for information by undertaking inspection, conducting inquiries, audit of stock exchanges and intermediaries. Of course, no stock exchange and no companies can anymore manipulate the market from investors' point of view, from companies' point of view, and for the general public. Development function comes out to be the last function. Training of intermediaries of the securities market. We know BSE has set up an institute for that. Conducting research and publishing information useful to all market participants, so it's properly published in the newspaper. Economic Times has it. Undertaking measures to develop the capital market by adopting a flexible approach. We have transparent capital market, everything is available online. You search, you go on Google, search for shares of any company, and you'll come to know, you'll get multiple information, and artificial intelligence will keep on giving you a lot of information and will encourage you literally to buy the shares of the company. And investor education, all is available, all free education is available to people so that they can buy the right kind of shares. That's all about financial market. We've done with the SEBI also, and we'll be doing the synopsis very soon. Till then, bye bye. Ta-da!